Okay, everybody, I'll start the lesson on the how to do reviewing the concepts from the test. And I've, I've been told that I'm not to go on the college campuses right now because of this coronavirus. That goes for everybody. I don't think students are allowed on there. Any employees, nobody is allowed to be on the campus. Okay, because of the coronavirus, they want to keep it from spreading as much as possible, and it's really kind of scary. I really strongly suggest you uh, wash your hands several times a day. If you go out in public, go home, take a bath, and change clothes. Okay, so now the number one thing we're going to talk about, we're going to start on, is how to. Let me select a brush. Number one, convert decimals to fractions. Okay, so you have 0.375. One place to the left of the decimal is tenths place, two places is hundredths, and three places is thousandths. So 0.375 is going to be 375 over 1,000. And then you can reduce that by dividing numerator and denominator by 5. If you divide the numerator by one number, you have to divide the denominator by the same number. Hold on a second. Alex! 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 Can you do something with her so she'll be quiet? I'm trying to do this video and I've had to stop it and start it over again already. Okay? I've already started it. I'm not going to start it again. All right. We're converting decimals to fractions. Yeah, okay. One place is left the decimals, tenths place. Two places is hundredths. Three is thousandths. So that's 375 over 1,000. You could divide numerator and denominator by 5. If you divide the numerator by 5, you get 75. And 1,000 divided by 5 is 200. Going about the dog, anybody walks by my house, she barks. And my son doesn't like to take him up to his bedroom because she chews on cords and chews things up. So anyway, it's a difficult situation. So, all right, now you can reduce 75 over 200 by dividing it by 5. And 75 divided by 5 is 15. 200 divided by 5 is 40. And 15 divided by 5 is 3. 40 divided by 5 is 8. So 0.375 is 3/8. Number 2. How do you convert this to a fraction? You have 0.28. Okay, one place the decimals, tenths place, two places is hundredths. So this is 28 over 100. Okay, that's knowledge of place value. And you divide the numerator by 2. Okay, you get 14. 1,000 divided by 2. 100 divided by 2 is 50. And 14 divided by 2 is 7. 50 divided by 2 is 25. So 0.28 is 7/25. Number 3. Let's change to a decimal. Okay, you have 3/5. Okay, one way is to do that is divide 3 by 5. Okay, 3, the numerator, is your dividend. 5 is your divisor. Okay, now I've made up some notes and I've put them on here for you to look at. Okay, in case you want to refer to them. Okay, or in case you can't read my writing. Now, there's nothing times 5 will give you 3. So you have to make that as a decimal point, 3.0. Then you ask yourself, what times 5 is 30? If 6 times 5 is 30, you have to line up your decimal point. And 6 times 5 is 30, so that's 0.6. And then you have 2/7. Okay, 2 divided by 7. There's nothing times 7 will give you 2. So you've got to put a decimal point there. Okay, now we're changing 2/7 to a decimal. Okay, there's nothing times 7 is 2. And the closest to 3 times 7 is 21. So you got to think what times 7 is closest to 20 without going over. And that is 2. And then subtract 14 from 20, you get 6. Okay, 8 times 7 is 56. Subtract, you get 4. 0. 5 7s are 35. Subtract, you get 5. And then you have 50 into 7. And 7 7s are 49. Subtract, you get 1. 1 7 is 7. And 4 7s are 28. And you get what you started with. So if you get what you started with, then this is a repeating decimal that goes on and on and on. Meaning you have 0.28574 that just repeats. So you put a bar above that. Okay, now here's another example. In a survey, of 300 people, %, prefer ranch dressing on their salad. How many prefer ranch dressing on their salad? How many prefer ranch dressing on their salad? Okay, it's 17%, and there's 30 people. So there'll be 17% of, 300 people, not 30. So 17% of 300. Which which means 0.17 times 300, which is 51. Now, a Kirby vacuum cleaner service a Kirby vacuum cleaner dealership sold 430 units in 2011. And 407 in 2012. Okay, find the percent decrease. Okay, now the formula for percent change, when they ask for percent decrease, they're really asking for percent change. Is new amount minus original amount divided by original amount. Times 100%. Okay, percent change is the new amount, which is 407, minus the original amount, which is 430, divided by the original amount, which is 430, times 100%. Okay, now you subtract 430 from 407. Okay, 23. And then you divide that by 430, and you get negative 5.0534. Then you multiply by 100, and you get negative 5.348%. And the negative just means it's a decrease. And if you want, you could make that let's just say it's 5.35% decrease. Okay, the negative just means it's a decrease. Now let's work another problem. Okay, I don't think I need that kind of brush. Let me. Okay, Lucy needs to borrow $6,200 to replace a roof on her home. Okay, now one of these things about a word problem is you need to read the problem very carefully, okay, and make sure you understand what you're reading. Now, she obtains a 30-month loan at an interest rate of 5.75%. Now, part A says calculate the simple interest on the loan. Okay, now I equals P RT, which is the amount she borrowed, which is $6,200, times the interest rate. Okay, that's 5.75%, but it's very important that you change it to a decimal, which means you drop the percent sign, you move your decimal point 2 places to the left. So if you move it 2 places to the left, you have 0.0575, and then you multiply it by the time, which is 30 months, and you make that 30 over 12. So if you multiply that out, 6,200 times 0.0575 times 30, and then you take your answer divided by 12, and you'll get the interest is $891.25. And part B asks you determine the total amount owed on the loan. So that will be $6,200 plus $891.25, which gives you a total of the total owed is $7,091.25. Now I'm just going to get a new screen. Okay, now this problem says Braden Little League receives a $50,000 donation to build a new snack bar and office building. Okay, the league decides to invest this money in a money market account. please. %4 compounded quarterly. Okay, now before I go on any further, I just had this on my mind, so I thought I'd say something about it. I'd like you to make comments about what you like about this type of teaching, about video. Do you like it better than the face-to-face teaching that we did? Or how could I improve on it to make it better? Can you please post any comments or any questions or anything like that in the discussion board? Anyway, it might help me improve this a little bit. If you have anything you want to say, I'd just like to know how well you like this type of thing, if it's better than the other kind of teaching we did when we went face-to-face. Now the question is, how much will be in this account after 2 years? I also suggest that printout of those that I've given you on this video. I believe I've got the problems worked out, or at least I do for the second one. But why don't you see if you could work it out with looking at the answers and compare your answers to mine. Okay? I will have no way of knowing if you've done that or not unless you send it to me by email. I guess you could do that, and I could look at them to see if you actually have done them yourself. But, without looking at my answers, okay? Of course, you could use my answers to check yourself. But see if you could do that. All right, now, you have to use this formula. A equals P times 1 plus R over N to the NT power. So A equals 50,000 times 1 plus 0.04 divided by 4 raised to the 4 times 2 power. Okay, it's 2 years, but it's 4 times. It's quarterly. So that is 50,000 times 1 plus 0.01 to the 8th power. Now, if that was 6 months, it would be 4 times 1/2. Okay, which is 50,000 Okay, now you have to find 1.01 to the 8th power on your calculator and take that answer and multiply it by 50,000. Okay, now that would be 50,000 times 1.01 to the 8th power. It is 1.08285676. And if you want, you could round it, but you've got to be careful how you round it because it will affect your final answer. Okay, if you multiply that by 50,000, then you come out with $54,142.84. Jim wants to invest money to buy a new tractor. He wants to have $275,000 available in 5 years. How much does he need to invest now in a CD paying (5.15% interest compounded monthly. Okay, so we have to use this formula. A equals P times 1 plus R over N to the NT power. Now, he wants to have this amount available. So that's the amount. A, not the principal. That's the final amount. So it's 275,000 equals P times 1 plus the interest rate. It's 5.15%, which is 0.05 divided by how many times it's compounded. It's compounded monthly, so you divide this by 12. Raise it to the power of 12 times 5. And so you have 275,000 equals P, and 0.0515 divided by 12 is, you'll have 1 plus 0.00429 1667 raised to the 60th power. So 275,000 equals P, and then you take that number 1 plus 0.004291667 raised to the 60th power, and you'll have 1.29297924, and then you divide both sides by that number, and you get P by itself. So you have 275,000 divided by 1.29297924 equals P. Okay, this little mark here isn't supposed to be there. And if you divide that out, you'll get the final answer for $212,687.10. Okay, the empirical probability. Okay, that's where you do an experiment. To compute a probability. Now that, like the Smarties. Okay, you drew out one color of a Smarties, recorded it, drew out another color, recorded it, drew out another color, recorded it. You had to do that 80 times, and then you convert it. You found out how many times you did orange Smartie divided by 80, and then you found the number of orange Smarties divided by 15, and compare the two. So that would be empirical probability. And this is R here. Okay. Now, theoretical probability. Is you compute a probability of something happening. given pens on paper. Okay, that's theoretical probability. And this is a C. Now this problem says Tina, Jake, Carla, and Gina form a club. They plan to select a president and a vice president. Construct a tree diagram and B, list the sample space. Okay, you have Tina, Jake, Carla, and Gina. Tina, Jake, Carla, and Gina. Okay, those are the people for the president. Now, vice president is, if Tina's a president, then you have Jake as vice president, Carla, or Gina. And then Jake, if he's president, Then you could have Tina, Carla, or Gina. And then if Carla's the president, you have Tina, Jake, or Gina. Now, if Gina's the president, you have Tina, Jake, or Carla. Okay, now I'm going to write out all the possibilities, okay, which is called the sample space. They ask you to list the sample space. That's all the possibilities. And then you have president, vice president. Okay, if Tina's the president, then the vice president could be Jake. If Tina's a president, a vice president could be Carla. And Tina could be president. And Gina is vice president. Okay, those are all the possibilities for Tina's president. Then you could have Jake as president. And the vice president could be Tina. Jake as president. Vice president could be Carla. And Jake's president. Vice president could be Gina. Okay, those are all the possibilities with Jake's president. And then you could have Carla as president. Carla. And then Tina as vice president. Carla as president. Jake as vice president. Carla as president. And Gina as vice president. Then you can have Gina as president. And Tina Gina is vice president. Gina is president. Jake is vice president. Gina is president. Jake is vice president. Sorry. Gina is president and Carla is vice president. Okay, I wrote Jake twice by mistake. Okay, those 12 possibilities, 4 for the president, 3 for vice president. 4 times 3 is 12. 12 possibilities here, and that's using what's called the counting principle. A coin is flipped. And then a number 1 through 4 is selected at random. From a bag. Construct a tree diagram and list the outcomes. Part B, determine the probability that a head is flipped and an odd number is obtained. And then D, determine the probability that a head is flipped or an odd number is obtained. Okay, now the tree diagram, you have H, T, and then if you get an H, you can get a 1, you can get a 2, you can get a 3, you can get a 4, and a T1, T2, T3, T4. Okay, and then your sample space is H1, H2, H3, H4. And then T1, T2, T3, T4. Okay, that's the possibilities. Determine the probability the head is flipped or an odd number is obtained. A head is flipped and an odd number is obtained. Okay, you have H1, H2, H3, H4, T1, T2, T3, T4. Okay, a head is flipped and an odd number is obtained. There's 8 different possibilities. 2 of them are possibilities of a head and an odd number, H1 and H3. So it'd be 2 over 8, which reduces to 1/4. Okay, the probability a head is flipped or an odd number is obtained. Is the probability of a head plus the probability of an odd number minus the probability of a head and an odd number. Okay, probability of a head is 1/2. A probability odd is, you have 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 of them are odd, so it'd be 1/2. And a head, an odd number, is 1/4. And 1/2 plus 1/2 minus 1/4 is 1 minus 1/4, which is 3/4. Now, the probability a new dry cleaner will succeed at a given location is 0.85. Determine the odds in favor of the dry cleaner succeeding. So the odds in favor, okay, odds in favor is the probability of the event. Okay, I have on the handout a probability in favor, but there should be odds in favor, divided by 1 minus the probability of the event. And the probability is 0.85 divided by 1 minus 0.85. Which is 0.85 divided by 0.15, which is 85 over 15. And that, if you divide both of them by 5, 85 divided by 5 is 17. 15 divided by 5 is 3. So that's red 17 to 3. Okay, Okay, now we've got 2 more problems to do, and then that will be all for today, or at least all for this video. I do plan to make it some quizzes for you to do to see if you're watching the videos. Okay. Each of the numbers one through 9 is written on a sheet of paper. Okay, the 9 sheets of paper are placed in a hat. If one piece of paper is selected at random, from the hat, determine the probability the number selected is A greater than 4, B even, and C even or greater than 5. Okay, how many are greater than 4? Okay, you have the numbers 1 through 9, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, 5 numbers, so it's 5 ninths. What's the probability it's even? How many are even? 2, 4, 6, 8. It would be 4 ninths. And even or greater than 5. Even or greater than 5 is the probability it's even plus the probability is greater than 5 minus the probability is even and greater than 5. Okay, the probability it's even is 4 ninths. And the probability is greater than 5 is also 4 ninths. And how many are even and greater than 5? It's 2 ninths. So 4 ninths and 4 ninths is 8 ninths minus 2 ninths is 6 ninths, which reduces to 2/3. Okay, now let's use the information from the last problem. Okay, the last problem was you have pieces of paper written on numbers 1 through 9 is written on sheets of paper and they're placed in a hat. This time, 2 sheets of paper are drawn from the hat. Okay, without replacement. Okay, let's determine the probability both numbers are greater than 5. Okay, that's the probability the first number is greater than 5 times the probability the second one's greater than 5. Okay, probability this first one is greater than 5 times the probability the second one is greater than 5. Okay, now how many we have the numbers 1 through 9. How many are greater than 5? That's 4. Okay, and says this is without replacement. Meaning once it's drawn out, it's gone. Okay, so it'd be 4 ninths. And And once the first one's gone, you have 3 over 8 left. So 4 ninths times 3 eighths. 4 into 4 is 1, 8 into 4 is 2, 3 into 3 is 1, 9 into 3 is 3. So that comes out to be 1/6. Or you could say it's also 4 times 3 is 12, 9 times 8 is 72. It would be 12 72s. Divide both of them by 6. And that'll be 2 over 36. No, wait a minute, 2 over 12, sorry. 2 over 12, which reduces to 1/6. Okay, the probability the first number is odd. And the second number is even. Okay, that's a probability of the first number being odd times the probability the second number is even. Okay, first being odd times the probability the second one's even. First one is odd. How many odd numbers do you have? 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. It's 5 numbers. So it'll be 5 out of 9. And the probability the next one's even. How many odd? Odd. The probability the second one's even. How many even numbers do you have? 2, 4, 6, 8. 2, 4, 6, 8. So it'd be 4 over 8. Okay, on my paper I think I put 5 eighths. It should be 4 eighths. So that's 5 ninths times 1/2, which is 5 eighteenths. Okay, probability neither number is greater than 5. So that's probably the first one is less than or equal to 5 times the probability the second one is less than or equal to 5. Okay, how many are less than or equal to 5? Be 5 over 9 and times 4 over 8. And so that's also 5 ninths times 1/2, which is 5 eighteenths. Okay, that's all for this video. If you have any questions, please let me know. And please put in the discussion board, or if you want, you can send it by email, but I prefer the discussion board. Any comments, any questions, what you like about this class, what you don't like, and please stay safe. I would recommend washing your hands real often. Don't go out in public. They say stay 6 feet away from people. I guess you don't have to do that with your own family members in your house. But anyway, be very careful. This illness is really serious. So anyway, everybody, if you have any questions, let me know. I plan to do probably at least 2 more videos, 2 more next week on this material. Okay, so hopefully you'll understand it. Also, I will post some other videos on Blackboard for you to watch that aren't ones that I've used, okay, or I've made. And I'll put quizzes on those videos just to make sure you watch them. Okay, so I'll try to do that today. Also, about your midterm grade, I haven't got an email from anybody saying when the midterm grades are due yet. But the problem is, your the quizzes you've taken, I've graded them and I've got them recorded, but they're in my grade book in my office at the college, and I'm not allowed to go there unless I have permission from my supervisor. So I need to email him to see if I can get permission to get in the building to get my grade book, and if they won't give me that permission, then I'll just have to use your first test score and your Alex grade, and not even use your quiz grades, at least for now. Okay, so I'll try to email my supervisor today and ask them if I could get in the building to get your quiz scores. But anyway, it, also, if you get on Alex, you'll get 2 points for attendance for every day you get on there. That counts as your attendance points. Plus, I've kept track of everybody's attendance points if you're E-students from the beginning of the semester until now. And you need to keep up with your Alex work. Okay, if you have any questions, let me know. More than likely, for the rest of the semester, we won't be meeting face-to-face anymore. And I don't know what they're going to do about the final. They told me in a meeting Monday that they'll talk about that later. So the final, that's kind of up in the air. But if you have any questions, please let me know. Okay, you all have a nice day.